Alright, so for today's review, we're going to be taking a look at the Diecast Masters Cat 301.7 CR Mini Excavator in 1 to 50th scale. This is a relatively new release from Diecast Masters. It is a part of the Highline series that they offer. So it does come in the nice metal tin. You do get an operator that is removable. I do not have him here presently. And this is everything you get in the box. You also do get a pair of tweezers in the box to help insert the operator into the operator's compartment. So without further ado, let's get straight into the review here. So these are the attachments you get. We'll get to those in a little bit. And then we'll get to the model here. So as you can see here, it's a fairly small model here. You do have these kind of awkward rivets that do kind of pop out when you look at the model. But they are painted over, which is very nice for the overall appearance. You can see you got a nice little tiny little graphic right there, which is nice. And you got your cat decal right there. And then you have an arrow right here. That's what I believe it is. And then you got another little graphic right here, which I believe these are both warning graphics, if I'm not mistaken. But I could be wrong as well. And then your undercarriage, you can see you got some more graphics on there as well. This is either an arrow or a lifting point if you were to want to lift this machine. That's what that little decal is, I'm pretty sure. You got some model rollers that are a part of the casting as well. And then you could see you got some rivets right here, which hold your idler and your sprocket there as well. You can see you got a nice Cat 301.7 CR decal right there, which is very nice. And then coming to the rear of the model, you can see you got some bolt detail right there for, assuming they bolt the counterweight onto the machine. Then you got a little, I believe this is a latch to get to the engine of the machine. And then you got a nice Cat decal right there as well. And you got some more little warning decals right there as well, which is very nice. And then some reflectors right there as well. And then coming to this side of the machine, you got a simulated vent, which I presume is where your radiator would sit. And then you got a little latch right there modeled in the casting and painted black as well. And then you got a nice 301.7 CR decal right there as well. And then the front of the machine, you can get a kind of a glimpse into the operator's compartment. You can see, if we can get the camera to focus here, that cat is on the back of the operator's compartment, which is pretty nice. And then we'll get to the operator's compartment. As you can see, it's fairly detailed. You got your joysticks and your levers right there as well. Then you got a little, what I presume is a little monitor modeled right there very nicely. Then you do have a piece of cab glass right there as well. I know this is an open ROPS machine, so I'm not sure why that's there. Could be like that on the real machine. I have never really seen 301 before. So we can get to some of the functionality of this model. So the blade, that's as high up as the blade will go, but the blade will go down to about there, which is pretty nice. And it is a stiff cylinder, so it will hold the pose up as well. And then obviously your machine will spin a 360. It's a little stiff on my model. It could just be a little screw. They have it a little too tight, but it does spin a 360, which is nice. And then we'll get to some of the stick and boom functionality. So this is as high up as your boom will go. This is as far out as the stick can go. That's as far in as it will go as well. And then that's as far out as your bucket cylinder will go. And then this is as far in as your bucket cylinder will go. It's a little tricky to, for this small of a model, to get that to have the best functionality. But they did do a fairly nice job. And then you do also have a cylinder right here that controls your boom. The pivot basically only pivots to one side because you can't get it to turn to that side, as you can see right there as well. Now, one of the features on this model, as you saw, it came with 3 other attachments, and you do have a quick coupler. So I recommend just pulling the bucket off. You got to be gentle when you pull the bucket off because this is a plastic coupler on there, so you don't want to break it. But there's a little bucket you get. You also get a ditching bucket as well, which is very nice. And then you get to the hammer. It fits on there very nicely. As you can see, it snaps right in. So the one thing with the hammer, that's about the position you could pose it in. You can't really have the stick in any farther, otherwise you lift the machine up off the ground, as you can see there. And then you can just pull that off the model as well, being careful not to try and break that quick coupler. Now the auger, this is the one attachment for this model that doesn't really work at all. Because as you can see, it just kind of looks a little awkward when you have it in that position right there, and you can't really bring it in any closer. Otherwise, it will really lift the machine up off the ground, as you see there. So that, I don't really like to have these two on the model as much as I do like to have these other two attachments on the machine as well. But here's a look at your quick coupler. Let's see if we can get the camera to focus on it here. But there's a look at your quick coupler. It's just kind of like a basic hook in the back, pin locks in there. Not saying it's 100% realistic, but it is what they decided to use for this model. And it does serve its purpose. It works fairly okay. You just don't want to be changing the buckets constantly, because you might eventually wear out the quick coupler and or break the plastic on it. But that's about it for the review of the Diecast Masters Cat 301.7 CR mini excavator in a 1/50th scale. I believe this model retails for maybe, I think it's like $35, somewhere around there, and then you got to add tax and shipping onto that. So you're looking maybe at like a $45 model. I think it's definitely worth it for a little mini excavator. Definitely changes things up in your collection. And it is a relatively small machine, so you could have it in, for like a landscaping dial, or like a utilities dial, because I like to use a lot of these mini machines on the actual job site. So if that's the dial you wanted, I could recommend this model for you. And it is a nice cat model to have as well. But that's going to do it for this review. So if you have any questions, please feel free to ask. If you'd like to follow my social media, both links are in the description. Thank you for watching, and stay tuned for the next video to be uploaded.